For this example of a personalized learning experience, I decided to take a retrospective of a course that I taught in the spring, speech communications, which is designed to train undergraduate students to become proficient and confident speakers, public speakers. I chose this route at the beginning of the semester, not realizing that it was a personalized learning experience that kind of fit the course's framework, the course we're taking right now. But as I look back, I can see that there are certain elements of it that apply, such as the use of outcomes versus grades to assess student performance. Why take that approach? Grades, I have found, especially with classes that I have taught since COVID, tend to discourage students. I picked that up instinctively, and then I looked up some research. So I've included a bibliography in the text part of this presentation to give the students more of a boost of confidence that grades can sometimes take away. It all begins with instructional objectives, and the more specific the instructional objectives, the better. And so here is a PDF of the instructional objectives, which I incorporated into this class based on other courses which are just like it. So the students are measured, or they're assessed on how well they are able to organize content, include oral citations, deliver the speech in a certain way that is lucid and clear. But instead of using good, fair, improved, needs improvement types of rating names, I used these. I don't remember where I got these, but these are the ones that seem to matter. When you assess an assignment with an outcome, using the Learning Mastery Gradebook in Canvas, you are building on the previous grades. So in actuality, the students don't get any grades. What they do is they get the cumulative effect of how well they do in criteria over iterations of assignments, in this case, speeches. It begins with the construction of outcomes in Canvas, and for each outcome that you create, there is a way to edit it so that the cumulative grading takes effect. There's the weighted average method, and there is the decayed average method. I used the weighted average method because quite honestly, I didn't understand the decaying average that much. The weighted average method counts the most recent assignment the most, 65%, and it averages all of the rest of the grades. The decayed average weights the most recent assignment the most, and then takes a decayed average of the previous assignments. So the trend, this being the first assignment, number 5 being the most recent, is almost always moving upward. And the students get a better chance at a grade with a decayed average than they do with a weighted average. So I mentioned grades. The first thing that I asked the students at the beginning of the course was, what grade for the course do you want to receive? That is the only grade for this course that you're going to get. Well, they came back to me with A's, mostly, and a couple of them, really honest, said, I just want to survive the course. Now, to make a long story short, before you do a speech, before you deliver a speech, you've got to plan it and organize the content, do some research. Each of those are distinct, discrete building blocks toward building a speech, which can be graded formatively. So there were a lot of formative assessments in the course. There were a lot of screencasts that showed how to construct an argument. There were so-called playlists, which walked the students through something like a hyperdoc to complete the various steps of creating a speech. There were the speeches themselves, recorded on video, submitted by the students to SpeedGrader, which is a wonderful tool for feedback, for personalized feedback. So here is an example of the rubric with the various criteria which are checked off. Here is the video with personal feedback which is given to the student, supportive, growth-minded. And so that takes us to the Learning Mastery Gradebook, which you can see is populated with lots of green colors. The orange colors means criteria were not met. And the students who got mostly green across the board were the ones that did best. For those who didn't, We would look at at the work at the learning criteria that they did master, look at their work history in the various assignments, and then through personal meetings, we would agree on the grade that they would get. All in all, I think this was pretty successful. I've got one sample to work with, just this course. And I think that it does get the most out of the student, whereas in a normal grading type of scheme, one bad grade on a speech midway through the course could throw them off their horse for the rest of the course. That's how I feel about it. And that's my presentation.